Hi guys, I'm still in West Virginia for this last night before traveling to Minnesota to cover the Vikings game. And let's talk about what you want to hear about. C.J. Gardner-Johnson avoided the worst case scenario, which would have been a torn ACL. The ACL is intact, I'm told, per sources, but he will undergo more testing. There is concern still about the knee and possibly this thing called a fat pad, which is near the patellar tendon, and it could range severely from a short injury, like meaning possibly back within 3 to 4 weeks, or it can be a long range of 6 months according to medical journals. So we'll see. I'm told it's probably going to be more on the short end of how long he'll be out, but there's going to be more testing, and yeah, it's a fluid situation. And yeah, there was concern, as you saw, there was a report that he had a torn Achilles tendon. It wasn't the Achilles, it was the knee. It was the knee all along that was being examined, as we said earlier. And then I was given some conflicting information about his ACL. There was concern about the ACL, but I'm told authoritatively, no torn ACL. So just want to set the record straight and give you guys that information as I tweeted. And so, yeah, there was initially some concern about that. Obviously, he was carted off the field, and he had an MRI and he's had other tests. And it was a very somber moment at the Greenbrier Sports Performance Center. They stopped practice. And D'Amico, as he said, it was heartbreaking to see anyone go down. But this is a guy that wasn't able to put any weight on his leg. And he was very upset. He pounded the ground with his hand after he went down. And still, to have him, not have him at all, is a tough situation for this defense. They were counting on him to be kind of a real catalyst in the secondary. So we'll see when he can get back on the football field and start contributing again to the Texans. So they're going to keep evaluating him, and at this time there's no surgery planned. They have not made a determination on the best course of action medically for C.J. Gardner-Johnson, who is having a great camp. So this is a situation now that you have clarity on C.J. Gardner-Johnson in terms of, okay, not season ending, definitely affecting his season at some undetermined length of games or weeks. So we'll see how long is it going to be. But what we have, learned about the whole defense and the options that they have. So M.J. Stewart is what they did today. When they had the scrimmage, they had M.J. Stewart run with the ones. And they had Miles Bryant work in. He also plays nickel. They don't seem like they're inclined to move Jalen Petrie from nickel. So if he stays there, I think that they will have a situation where you're going to be looking at other options. Whether they would go outside the organization to look at a free agent like Simmons, unclear. I think that they will always explore all options. Nick Caserio's that type of guy. He's going to be thorough. He's going to kick the tires on things, and he's going to just need more information because he needs to know how long is C.J. Gardner-Johnson out and when are they going to get some other players back. So that was definitely a day and hectic for sure with C.J. Gardner-Johnson. But C.J., the players are very hopeful that he's going to get back out there with them. So that's good. We have an update on another safety on the team, and that's Texans safety Jimmie Ward. So as you guys know, he has a case in Montgomery County on a third-degree felony domestic violence case, an accusation involving his son's mother. And he was arrested again today for testing positive for alcohol. I was told this and reported for KPRC2 about a violation of his bond. So I spoke to his attorney, Steve Jackson, and this is the situation for Jimmie. He still has the same court date on August the 13th, which is a information conference. After that, there will be a grand jury meeting on August the 31st. And so I'm going to read you a little bit about what happened. So he violated a condition of his $30,000 bail by testing positive for alcohol. As a sanction from Judge Lisa Machalk, he had to remain overnight in jail. So he'll be out of jail on Friday. and his lawyer emphasized on the record that there's no contact with the complainant, meaning the woman that has accused him of strangulation and from a June case. So he said his client was unaware that he couldn't drink alcohol at all, and he said it's a condition of his bond. There are certain conditions like you can't drink. And Jimmie believed it was for not getting intoxicated, like he could have a drink. There was no contact with the complainant. The court has a zero tolerance policy for drinking while on bond, unbeknownst to him. Quote, the judge issued a sanction, that's Judge Lisa Machalk, so he will spend the night in jail overnight. This has nothing to do with the complaining witness at all. There are no new allegations against Jimmie. The judge wants to treat him fairly like anyone else. The Texans had no immediate comment on this latest development in Ward's legal situation. So there is a charge of alleged strangulation stemming from this early morning arrest in June, and this is about the grand jury. And a prediction from his lawyer saying, who before he told me he would be vindicated. So we'll see. Obviously, two sides to every story. So, I don't know and wasn't there. It sounds like kind of a he said, she said situation. And I'm not going to get too far into the case, but I am going to report as I feel is merited. And in this case, I think there was a development that we should talk about. So, quote from Steven Jackson to KPRC2, me. The case will go to the grand jury at the end of the month where we expect it to be no build. No build means that it will be thrown out. By the grand jury, Jimmie can resume his normal activities. We will be presenting information to the grand jury in hopes of getting the case no build and dismissed. Okay, we'll see. If he beats the case, will he be playing for the Texans? I'm told that he will not be ready for the season. So it's unclear if when he'll be ready from the foot surgery he had, and will the NFL let him play? Because they can punish you even for just being arrested or investigated under the personal conduct policy. And they take domestic violence cases very seriously, as they should. This is a serious matter, but there's also a due process, and so we'll see what happens with the case. But that's where it stands for Jimmie Ward. So a lot of developments here at the safety position with C.J. Gardner-Johnson and avoiding the ACL tear, but still injuring his knee, and could have been worse, but it's not good to injure your knee at all. So we'll see what the medical outlook is going to be for C.J. Gardner-Johnson, also known as C.D. Deuce, and Chauncey. So we'll see what happens with that. And as you guys know, they had a scrimmage today. There were some overthrows by C.J. Stroud to Nico Collins. There was a dropped potential touchdown pass with Nico Collins. And overall, it was kind of an average day for the offense. As you guys have probably seen, Nick Chubb took a hit to the head, and that's the other day, and that's why he hasn't practiced the past 2 days. He did watch practice, which is good. So that's a medical update on him. And then Dylan Horton is moving decently on the side, but did not practice again. So no Dylan Horton. Jalen Noel, he looked like he was dinged for a second, but then he continued to practice. Jalen Reed, the safety, the 6th-round pick from Penn State, he has an ankle injury, and he is going to miss about 3 weeks, I'm told. So that's the outlook for Mr. Jalen Reed. And, in watching this, there are some moments where I thought the offensive line did a good job with pass blocking. And you guys are obviously pretty fixated and thinking a lot about the offensive line and how they're performing. And it was the same line because Cam Robinson is still not practicing, just watching. So Cam Robinson is out, and that means Ariante Ursary is the left tackle, the rookie from Minnesota, who's going to go back to Minnesota as they play the Vikings. So kind of a homecoming for him and Daniel Jackson, a very good undrafted rookie receiver. So Ursary will play left tackle, and if they have him play even. They haven't made it clear. They said starters will play. Unclear if C.J. Stroud will play, though. He wants to play, but we'll see if they put him out there. And then left guard is Laken Tomlinson. Center is still Jake Andrews. Right guard is Ed Ingram, ahead of Juice Scruggs, with right tackle Titus Howard. And Titus has had his moments as a right tackle. I've seen some good blocks from Titus, just not all the time. So they're still striving for consistency as an offensive line. So that is pretty interesting to me to see that and kind of just how they will go forward as an offensive line, and obviously a important situation there for the Texans. So interesting things here with this preseason game, and I'm going to get more into it. I have some things I'm going to be posting, some things with an interview I had with Nick Caley, and a Danielle Hunter interview, and also Jalen Smith. So interesting developments with the Texans, and they will not have everybody suit up, like I said, for the Vikings game. Some guys will play very limited. Anybody that has an injury, and this means, or they're coming off an injury, like Christian Harris did not practice today, and that's because he's just had one day, so they're not going to put him out there against the Vikings. Same thing with Dameon Pierce coming back from the quadriceps injury. So they're going to play a lot of young guys, and so we expect probably Jaden Higgins, Ariante Ursary, Jalen Noel making their NFL debuts. So we're going to see how that goes. But yeah, a lot of guys didn't practice, including, like I said, Cam Robinson, Christian Harris, Nick Chubb, Dameon Pierce. But yeah, with Chubb, it's a deal where, they feel like, he's going to be back soon. D'Amico Ryan's addressed that. He says Nick will be fine. Nick will be back with us pretty soon. So I agree with that. But yeah, he did get dinged, and that is why he's out. Robinson has a sleeve on the leg. He's still watching, and I think he's working his way back. But I expect him back at some point here in the preseason. I don't think it's going to be a very long-term injury. Some good showings by Xavier Hutchinson, was one of the guys that did play well and made some good catches. So I thought that was an encouraging development. And overall, just solid by the offensive line. So I think it was more time for CJ. And D'Amico Ryan said the last couple of days that they've gotten better and better and better, quote. They've done a great job picking up pressures, done a great job one-on-one, passing off rushers, working with each other. So he's seeing some good teamwork. And you guys saw those videos from me of Cole Popovich and the kind of hands-on coaching he does. And they're in the trenches and they're wrestling and they're going at it. And it looks like football to me. It smells like football. And they're doing their thing. So more of that, and that's the path to getting better. Like as I said, low man wins in the trenches. And they just got to continue to work at it and have good teamwork and good communication. But yeah, the offensive line, they're a work in progress. And we're going to be talking about them all year. And probably their best football, if they can stay healthy, is ahead of them when they, move on, from some of these growing pains as they learn the offense and, get comfortable in all these new spots. And there's so many new players all playing together. So lots of changes afoot with the Texans and their offensive line. And we'll be giving you more coverage, of course, in Minnesota. And yeah, please keep it locked here on the channel and at KPRC2 at www.click2houston.com. And of course, I'll be on television with Randy McElvoy and Ari Alexander. So I look forward to giving you guys more coverage from Minnesota and some good interviews from the locker room. And yeah, please keep it locked here on the channel. And I appreciate everybody that watches, likes, and subscribes. Guys, thanks, and talk to you soon.